chat would be kind of a no-brainer, right, Eric?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't imagine having people milling around the office eating, you know. You have to have your
Finger
mask
foods.
on. Huh?
Finger foods and.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Buffet style. Yeah. Yeah. Perfect.
A little fondue and.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they probably did have it, you know. Yeah.
Fondue would
Probably
kill all
100
that
people were
stuff.
there, and you know. No, it's a super spreader event. You know?
I had a garbage can full of jungle juice, so I just dipped the cups in there. Bring back some memories.
Yes, yes.
Okay, by the clock I'm looking at, I see it's 6 o'clock, even though the wall clock looks like it's 5 minutes slow. So we'll go ahead and call the December 17, 2020 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order. I would note that the hearings will be on cable channel 192 and also YouTube if anybody needs to not be in attendance because want to watch it. The planning and zoning policies and statements and agendas are available outside on the table. If you haven't already picked one up, please feel free to. And if you have a cell phone, if you could put it on mute or turn it off, it would be appreciated. Note for the record that we have 6 of our 7 commissioners present tonight. Vice Chairman Hine is not in attendance. We also have Craig Collins and Dee Hardy with the planning and zoning staff. We have, well, I saw Wallace around. I don't see him in here. Oh, he moved on me. Wallace Tremeth of the city's attorney's office. Liz Becker with the community development coordinator. Bob Hopkins, our liaison with City Council, and our city engineer's office, Andrew Beamer, is also here, among others. And I see a couple other faces that I'm going to defer their introduction until Ms. Becker gives us a report. With that, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of our November 19, 2020 minutes.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Davis.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Feth. Are there any corrections or additions? Are we voting a thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs down, yeah.
Okay, thumbs up for approval, thumbs down for abstentions or nay votes. All in favor of approving the November 19 minutes, please indicate with a positive thumbs up or otherwise. And please record the vote.
With the exception of Commissioner Ani, who's abstaining, everyone votes yay. Motion passes.
Okay, I am going to defer a little bit from the written agenda, and I am going to ask Community Development Becker, Liz Becker, to come forward and discuss what's on her mind.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. Tonight is a transition evening because we are losing 3 of our current commissioners, and so it's with sadness as well as with appreciation for the service that they have completed with the Planning and Zoning Commission. Eric Ani has served for 3 years. We truly appreciate your service. Commissioner Bob King has served for 6. And as I reflect back over those time frames, I think of the projects that you all have touched, whether it was the state office project that we had to get annexed in for that multi-million-dollar project to transpire. You all have helped oversee major plans, not only our comprehensive land use plan, but also our long-range transportation plan for the growth of the city. We've seen you approve the development plan for David Street Station, and we've seen that project and what it's done for downtown Casper. There's been growth of residential as well as commercial, and that's all come through this body first. And it is a huge service that you provide and greatly appreciated. One of the things we like to do is to provide some mementos of our appreciation, one of which is a certificate that we put together for the outgoing members. And I wanted to share the text of what is part of this certificate. It was actually back in 1979 that this letter was first put together. Chuck Davis was Community Development Director in my position, but my dad was in your positions. And there was a letter put together, and my dad held on to his from 1979, and when he passed 3 years ago, I found it, and he had treasured it, and he was living in Missouri at the time, but for him, the service here with the Casper Planning Commission had meant a lot. So I brought the letter back, and we have utilized it now, and instead it's got Mr. Ani's name on it, and a different Mr. King's name on it, because that's my father's last name. So I wanted to share this, and with the viewers at home, because I know we've got some new commissioners that are watching from home, I want to thank you all, as well as Commissioner Hine. Randy will be also stepping off commission after 6 years. So, dear Commissioner, on behalf of the City Council and staff, I would like to extend our deepest appreciation for your service to the city as a member of the Planning Commission. Your willingness to serve and the unselfish manner in which you have given of your time has created a debt that the city will be unable to repay. It is in the interest and attitude of citizens such as you that, in large measure, have made Casper a wonderful city in which to live. I hope your interest and involvement will remain active so that you can all benefit from your experience. Sincerely, and it's the Mayor of Casper. So I will have Craig present yours from Mayor Friel for 2020. We also put together a photographic thank you, which Dee has put together.
Thank you.
And Eric and Bob, if you want to present those, my dear. Picture of our City of Casper skyline.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Come back and see us. And you guys can always re-up too. Chuck Davis, I'm glad you're back with us.
Thank you very much.
Second appreciation we want to share tonight is for a member of our city council who will be stepping off of council at the end of the year. Councilman Bob Hopkins, you can come on up here. Councilman Bob Hopkins, I first met in 2007, and he was instrumental on the Planning Commission. So he was in the seats you all occupy as a planning commissioner in the whole envisioning of the old Yellowstone district. Countless hours as a planning commissioner writing the form-based code, getting that through this body, which took multiple attempts, and then seeing the success of that in 2008. He then segued from the Planning and Zoning Commission onto the City Council and has continued to be an advocate not only for the old Yellowstone district, but all of Casper. And he has continued in this public service, and I know he will continue to, even if he's not on council, will sit and serve on various committees like the Amoco Reuse Agreement Joint Powers Board. So we have a token of our appreciation for Councilman Bob Hopkins this evening. Come on up. Round of applause for your service, sir. Again, skyscape of Casper and appreciation for your service.
That's beautiful. This is the place I love.
I know you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Liz, before you leave, did you want to make any announcement regarding the new commissioners who will be coming on board?
Chairman, I know we have got, on Tuesday evening, our new commissioners were appointed officially by the City Council. Mike McIntosh is here as one of our incoming planning commissioners. We have Vickery Bales Hall, who is watching us, so she is remoting in, and so she will also be joining the commission. And then Councilman Ken Bates has moved then from council onto the Planning Commission, so he's probably watching virtually. So those three all approved, and we'll start with this body in January.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Okay, we'll now move on to the public hearing part of our agenda. First item on our docket tonight is PLN 20, 29RZ, which is a petition to vacate and replat lots 1 through 4, Block 16, Cottonwood Edition, the west half of Lot 15 and Lot 16 through 19, Block 17, Trails West Estates, and Lot 20A, Block 17, Trails West Estates number 3, and Lots 8 through 14, Block 17, Trails West Estates number 2, and the westerly portion of Indian Scout Drive to create Trails West Estates number 4, generally located south of Trevitt Lane, and rezoning of lots 1 through 4, Block 16, Cottonwood Edition from zoning classification PUD to R1, which is residential estates. The applicant being Anage Indigo, trustee of the Anage Indigo Living Trust, dated April 11, 2018, and Charles J. Prater. And this case was continued from our December 17, from September, I think it was, September or October to tonight, December 17. Do we have a staff report?
Mr. Chairman, no staff report tonight. I believe the applicant would like to come up and say a word or two, and I think we'll probably end up continuing this one for a month.
Okay. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. Since we're joint applicants, we'll come up on behalf of our clients. My name is Keith Tyler. My address right now is 140 North Center, Casper. I'm the attorney on behalf of the need.
Indeed, okay. I'm sorry I mispronounced that.
It took me quite a while.
Good evening. My name is Thomas Hogan. I'm an attorney here in town. I represent the Paters. I'm at 93 Valley Drive, Casper, Wyoming.
Okay, and your request is to continue the issue until January, is that correct? Am I?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We've been in correspondence with Craig and ourselves, and we are that close. All we need is some additional time to do some revisions to the application, where we anticipate the vacation of the remainder of Indian Scout Drive, and that should make it palatable to all the concerned parties.
Well,
I've been in contact with the surrounding landowners. They are in agreement. So we just need some time to get some drafting work done, some survey work done, and then we'll be back before the commission for the final approval.
okay, well, we'll take that as a request from the applicant to continue the issue until January 21st. And I don't believe that needs a vote. If we just, since it came from you folks to request to continue, so we'll just set it for our January 21st docket.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Winkler.
I have a question to the city planner. If they're that close, is it not, could we not, and this goes for you, Mr. Chairman, too, could we not approve it with their potential changes if they're that close? I mean, I'm just curious.
I think until we have all of the up-to-date facts in front of us, I think it would be premature and most likely inappropriate for us to hear the case without it being in its complete form. That would be my opinion.
So you think we ought to hold off?
I think we ought to continue it since it is a request.
I just thought if they're that close, I don't know what their, I couldn't hear that well. I don't know what their disagreement is yet.
No disagreement, Mr. Chairman. We're going to broaden the scope of the plat to include some additional property owners in the area.
Okay. I understand.
If we heard it tonight, it would still have to be heard in January for the final version of it, so I think it would be.
Well, you won't be here in January. You'll be sitting out in the audience.
Well, I'll be watching you on cable channel 192, Terry.
Okay.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Okay, moving ahead to our second item on the agenda tonight, PLN 2037R is a petition to vacate and replat the Kensington Heights Edition number 2 addition number 1, lots 5, 6, and tract B, block 4, to create the Kensington Heights addition number 2, generally located at the south end of Lambert Court, the applicant being Kensington Heights Investments LLC. I will note too that if for any reason the applicant wishes to postpone their hearing or continue it to a future date because of only 6 of our commissioners, that would be acceptable. You need a vote of 4 positive or affirmative votes in order to approve any action tonight. Do we have a staff report on 2037R, please?
Mr. Chairman, just a clarification, we skipped over 25, which is Highland Park. Do you want to come back to that one? That one's a city of Casper as the applicant, so we can do that.
I had it in front of me. I had it in the wrong place, so I apologize for that.
We can skip it if you want. We can come back to it.
Well, let's do that since I've already started the dialogue. We'll skip to 37R, 2037R, and then we'll come back to 2025R. So let's do 2037R first, if that doesn't cause any angst.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. An application has been received for a vacation and replat creating Kensington Heights Edition number 2. The replat involves 3 platted but undeveloped lots encompassing 2.18 acres more or less, located north of Country Club Road at the south end of Lambert Court. 2 of the lots are developable and 1 is a drainage / detention lot. The property is zoned R2, 1-unit residential. The purpose of the replat is to enlarge the 2 developable lots by incorporating portions of the drainage lot into portions of the lots 1 and 2. The minimum lot size in R2 zoning is 4,000 square feet, and all proposed lots exceed that requirement. Mr. Chairman, I have no recommended conditions from staff. We also have no public comments, and I have 6 exhibits to enter into the record. A is the replat application, B, vicinity map, C, copy of the plat, D, legal notice, E, notice of public hearing sent to property owners, and F, memo to chairman and members of Planning and Zoning Commission. That concludes staff's report, and we're available for any questions.
Thank you, and exhibits A through F are accepted for the record. I now declare the public hearing open, or first of all, were there any questions of the staff report?
Mr. Chairman, just to let you know, that did cause me a considerable amount of angst to have that out of order. Okay. Onward and upward.
I encourage you to submit your name for chairman in January so that you can correct my lack of attendance on the issue. So, thank you. Okay, I now declare the public hearing open for consideration of case PLN 2037R. The hearing will be conducted in accordance with state statutes, the rules of the Planning and Zoning Commission, and other applicable laws. I would ask those individuals who address the commission to approach the lectern and please state your name and address. Would the person or persons representing case PLN 2037R come forward and explain the application? Seeing none, as required by state law, we will invite people to comment in favor of or in opposition to all public hearings. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak either in favor of or in opposition to case PLN 2037R? Seeing none, there being no others to speak in favor or against the case, I now declare the public hearing closed and would entertain a motion to approve and forward a due pass recommendation to City Council to deny or to table case PLN 2037R, the replat.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Back here again.
Commissioner Wingeter.
I'll make a motion that we approve and goes on to the City Council, of course.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Wingeter.
20-37-R.
Okay, motion to approve by Commissioner Wingeter. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Feth. Are there any questions or comments relating to the motion?
And whatever the conditions that,
I don't believe there were any.
there wasn't any condition.
There was no conditions on 37R that I picked up on.
Okay.
think it was.
There wasn't any okay.
Okay, no other comments? Please signify your approval with the thumbs up or your disapproval with the thumbs down. And please record the vote.
With all commissioners voting aye, the motion passes.
Okay, 37R passes. Now we'll backtrack to 2025R. And again, I apologize for the confusion there. PLN 2025R is a petition to vacate and replat Highland Park Cemetery plat and include unplatted portions of the south half of the northeast quarter and the north half of the south quarter. There might be a typo in that D because there needs to be another quarter description of that second. Do you see where I'm looking at? Not that that's minor, but anyway, we'll get that corrected. But we're in section 10 of 33 North, 79 West, Natrona County, Wyoming, to create the Highland Park Cemetery Addition Number 2, located at 1860 East 12th Street, the applicant being the city of Casper. Do we have a staff report, Mr. Collins?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The city of Casper is the applicant for the requested plat creating the Highland Park Cemetery Addition Number 2. The area involved encompasses 73.09 acres, more or less, of a mix of both platted and unplatted properties located generally east of South Conwell Street between East 4th and East 12th Street. The purpose of the plat is to clarify legal descriptions of approximately 29,450 burial plots and to incorporate previously unplatted property into the cemetery at the south end. Pursuant to Title 35, Chapter 8 of the Wyoming State Statute, cemeteries are required to be formally platted as legal subdivisions. Mr. Chairman, we have no recommended conditions. We've also had no written public comments. I have 6 exhibits. A is the replat application. B, vicinity map. C, copy of the plat. D, legal notice. E, notice of public hearing sent to property owners within 300 feet. And F, memo to the chairman and members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. And I would note that Mr. Beamer is here on behalf of the city if you have any questions for the applicant.
Thank you. Exhibits A through F are accepted, and I would also note for my correction, and to correct my legal description, we are talking the north half of the southeast quarter. That was where I was confused. So either the north, it's the south half of the northeast quarter and the north half of the southeast quarter, I believe. Okay, with that, are there any questions from Mr. Beamer on the staff report or the issues? Seeing none, I now declare the public hearing open for consideration of case number PLN 2025R. The hearing will be conducted in accordance with state statutes, the rules of the Planning and Zoning Commission, and any other applicable laws. I would ask the individual who addressed the commission to please approach the lectern and identify yourself and state your address. Would the person or persons representing case PLN 2025R please come forward and explain the application. Mr. Beamer, would you like to give us a little insight as to what we're looking at here, just in case there are any questions that come up?
Mr. Chairman, I must admit I was zoning back there. I'm not sure I can add much more than Craig has already provided. We did expand the southeast portion of the cemetery to increase the number of burial plots here a couple summers ago, which prompted the platting of all of the burial plots inside Highland Park Cemetery, which is what you see in front of you tonight. So unless you have any additional questions.
One question. How many additional lots will that give us?
That is a very good question, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner. I'm not sure. I think in the neighborhood of 7,000 maybe burial plots.
How many?
7,000. And we also added a columbarium at the same time, so.
Okay, that's fine.
Could you also added a what?
Columbarium for ashes.
Oh, okay, thank you, I didn't.
Any other questions from the commission for Mr. Beamer?
Mr. Beamer, is it too late to change the Wamsutter Drive name?
I didn't know they
I
had.
would have to take a look at where exactly Wamsutter Drive was, and I would probably say, yes, it is too late.
I have a question, if I may.
Commissioner Wingeder.
Chairman. I have, well, several of us, I'm sure, have relatives up there right now. And there's a bunch of old cement, you know where the gully is, and there's quite a bit of old cement and dirt and all that piled up and all that. It just looks terrible. And have they ever thought about putting a privacy fence around all that? I mean, when you're up there at the cemetery and you try and, you know where I'm talking about? It's a place where they have their maintenance division and all that.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, I believe I know what you're talking about, along the eastern boundary of the cemetery. Certainly, I can relay that to the staff out there and see if we can't spruce that up, at least hide a little bit better.
Well, I know money's tough for the city. It's just a thought. I've noticed it many times, and I've heard other comments about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody in the audience wishing to speak either in favor of or in opposition to case PLN 2025R, the vacate and replat? Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Christy Flory. I live at 343 South Kenwood. I just bought this house like a year ago, and I don't know if this is the place to do this or not, but I really don't understand what this letter said to me. So I take it that what you want to do is possibly, I live right across from the cemetery, right across 4th Street. So does this mean that you're thinking of incorporating that whole area right there into the cemetery? Is that what I'm understanding?
Would you like to address that, Greg? I'll have staff try to address your question.
And this is a common misconception. We had quite a few calls. I don't have a copy of the letter that was sent out, but it includes a buffer, 300 feet, that shows everybody that is notified, and it was confusing to a lot of people. They didn't realize that that was just to show why they were getting the letter or who was getting the letter. But no, it shouldn't affect anything other than the current cemetery property. It was just a tool to show that we notified everybody within that circle.
I understand. Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, and that's the policy on any applications that come in front of planning and zoning, is where the staff is required to notify everybody, regardless of what the issue is, within within 300 feet of the boundary of the application area, gets notified of that for whatever reason they might comment on, either for or against. So it doesn't sound like it would impact your property at all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Any other questions or comments? There being no others to speak for or against the case, I now declare the public hearing closed and would entertain a motion to forward a due pass recommendation to City Council to deny or to table case PLN 2025R, the replat.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Davis,
Second?
seconded by Commissioner Frank. Any further discussion regarding the motion to approve and forward a due pass recommendation? Hearing none, please cast your vote, thumbs up or thumbs down, and please record the vote.
With all members voting aye, the motion passes.
Okay. Thank you. Then that brings us to the last item on our public agenda. PLN 2038C is a petition for a conditional use permit to construct a detached garage with an accessory dwelling on Lot 10, Block 137, Casper Edition, located at 904 South Lincoln Avenue, the applicant being Deborah Ann Gillahan. And I would also note again that the applicant, if they so desire, could ask for a continuance in case, since we are only at 6 of our commissioners, you need a positive affirmative vote of 4 in order to get any application passed. Do we have a staff report on 2038C?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Deborah Gillahan has applied for a conditional use permit to construct an accessory dwelling unit within a detached garage in an R2 one-unit residential zoning district located at 904 South Lincoln Avenue. The applicant proposes to replace an existing detached garage with a 26 by 32 garage, including a 541 square foot residential loft. The property is located at the southwest corner of the intersection of Divine Avenue and South Lincoln Avenue and is approximately 8,400 square feet in size. The minimum lot size in the R2 district is 4,000 square feet. The concept of accessory dwelling units was added to the municipal code in 2008 in order to address society's changing housing needs by providing for concepts such as caretaker residences to allow for aging in place, or for situations where a family member may want to live somewhat independently but may require periodic supervision or care. The purpose of allowing for accessory dwelling units as a conditional use rather than a permitted use by right was to prevent the general introduction of multifamily residential development into single-family areas. Staff has included a recommended condition of approval that reiterates the code requirement that either the principal dwelling or the accessory dwelling must be occupied by either the property owner or their immediate family member in perpetuity. Mr. Chairman, staff has included 2 recommended conditions of approval. We haven't received any comments on this case, and I have 5 exhibits. A, the conditional use permit application. B, map of the 300-foot notification zone. C, legal notice. D, notice of public hearing sent to property owners within 300 feet. And E, memo to the chairman and members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. That concludes staff's report.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Exhibits A through E are accepted for the record. I now declare the public hearing open for consideration of case PLN 2038C. Again, the hearing will be conducted in accordance with state statutes, the rules of the Planning and Zoning Commission, and any other applicable laws. I would ask the individuals who address the commission to again approach the lectern and please state your name and address. Would the person or persons representing case PLN 2038C please come forward and explain the application. Good evening.
Hi. So I'm Deb Clark, live at 904 South Lincoln Street. This was really interesting. This is the first time I've been through a process like this, so it's interesting to hear you talking about my house. It's kind of cool. So the reason why we're here is when I bought this home in 2012, it has an old, very low, very poorly built and about to fall over garage on there that's been added to over time. This picture that you see there was taken when I bought the home. That's an old Google Earth photo now. So this is what we'd like to replace it with. And when I first bought the home, I saw the opportunity to put something much better. We're right across the street from Grant Street Grocery, so we get a lot of people walking by and traffic coming for, to go to the grocery store and the market. And I really feel like my garage is an eyesore, but there's this problem with if I tear it down, what can be rebuilt? So I thought, well, what I'm going to do is just kind of aim high. This is my ideal outbuilding, my ideal garage. I work a lot. I own an appraisal company here in town that we serve all of Wyoming and western South Dakota, and I'm a founder of a new startup that's looking to offer real estate evaluations across the country. I have a teenage daughter, and I work more and more and more. My intent for how to use the second floor is to basically have a home office. The inside of my house with a 13-year-old daughter, she's spread into what used to be my office in there. It's now home to her gaming computer and her Briar horse collection, and it has really kind of forced me out. So I would like to be able to have, as an alternative, I will keep my office that I have downtown with all of my employees, but just as somewhere that I can work from home so I'm not forced to go into my actual office every day. I'd really like to have a bathroom in there, and I guess that's what it takes to kind of make it an accessory dwelling unit. So like I said, this is what I would truly love to see on my property. It's been what I've kind of hoped for and envisioned since I bought it in 2012. It's going to allow me to continue to grow, you know, with my daughter and professionally without having to move and look for a bigger home. I love where I live, and but that said, you know, I want it to fit and I want it to do justice to my neighborhood, and so I guess that's really about it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Clark. And I do have one question to start off with. Staff has recommended 2 conditions if we were to move ahead with approval of your application. Are you familiar with those conditions? And do you have any issues with them?
Yes, sir. Thank you for bringing that up. So the minimum of 4 off-street parking spaces, no problem. I can do that quite easily. Now, the principal dwelling unit or the accessory dwelling unit shall always be occupied by the owner of property or their immediate family member in perpetuity. Well, so long as I own the home, yes. But I'm not sure, like in perpetuity means forever. How can I guess I'm not entirely clear how I can agree to something like that if the home should ever leave my possession.
Okay, I'm going to ask staff and our attorney to back me up on this, but I believe with a conditional use permit, that is only with the current resident or the current owner of the property, is that not?
It's actually recorded against the property.
Oh, it's recorded against the property.
So it acts as a deed restriction then? Yes. Gotcha.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right, yeah.
So-
Yeah, okay. I'm familiar with the concept of a deed restriction. I just wasn't sure that that's what would be implemented.
Okay, so I learned something there too, so.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
and so that would be acceptable to you if that condition were attached to the application?
Yeah, I guess it would have to be.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Clark from the commission? Thank you.
I do have
Oh, Commissioner Ronnie.
Hey Deb, how's it going?
Hey, Eric.
First of all, we were looking at this property before they bought it, and they've done a fabulous job with it, so it's been awesome. I guess going through the plans, it looks like pretty much 9-foot sidewall for the garage, which is about as low as you can do with a modern garage, in my opinion. 8-foot sidewalls for the upstairs dwelling, and a 412. So everything you've done is to keep it as low as possible. Gotcha.
Yeah, and I've been using like John Griffith and his designers, and he's been really good about, you know, trying to help us keep it, you know, within code as much as possible.
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Wingeter.
Yes, I was raised in that area all my life, and it's a beautiful area. Are you going to be building this right away, or I mean, are you going to be? Is there going to be a contractor involved, or is the reason why I want to know this is I just don't want the neighborhood to have to go through all this construction for about 1.5 or 2 years. If you, that's why I was wondering if you're going to build it right away, or if it's going to drag on.
Yeah, I can tell you one thing I'm not, and that's a procrastinator, so I will want this to be done as quickly as possible. I am working with a contractor, and then John Griffith with Tandem Design Build, and he's got a team, so our goal would be that we wouldn't start demolition until they had everything ready to be able to get them replaced and reconstructed as quickly as possible.
And one other thing, I want to compliment you on the architectural style of this. I think it's going to add a lot to the neighborhood. I really do.
I think so too.
So, did a good job. A lot of those garages you see with the upstairs like that are just your basic box type, you know. But this looks very nice. Did a good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Clark.
Thank you.
As required by state law, again, we would invite people to comment in favor of or in opposition to any and all public hearings. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak either in favor of or in opposition to case PLN 2038C? Seeing none, there being no one to speak for or against the case, I now declare the public hearing closed and would entertain a motion to approve, deny, or to table case PLN 2038C. And I would also note, if a motion is made to approve, staff has recommended some certain language in our packet that I would encourage if the motion is made to approve, to incorporate that language in the motion.
Mr. Chairman, be happy to make a motion, we approve it with the conditions.
Okay, and what staff has recommended is that if we all feel that the motion includes all relevant factors, including but not limited to those set forth in the Casper Municipal Code, Section 171224H, and find that the conditional use permit meets the two findings required by Casper Municipal Code, Section 1712-240G. So I would suggest that we include that language in your motion to approve, along with the two conditions as specified in our staff report. Okay, the motion was made by Commissioner Wingeter. Is there a second?
So moved.
Seconded by Commissioner Davis. Discussion.
I have Mr. Chairman, I have a
Commissioner
question
Frank.
for Mr. Collins. I'm assuming there's no requirement to do anything about the fact that she's running a business. It's not a business that's going to have a lot of traffic, so, okay. I just wanted to be sure.
The code does address home occupations, and there's some very simple guidelines that go along with that. So typically, a home office is not a problem.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Further discussion.
Commissioner King?
Commissioner Longy.
Yeah, I guess, Craig, the conditions, the minimum of 4 of the off-street parking spaces, you have 2 now, Deb?
I have 2 in front of this garage. I have 1 in front of my home and 2 or 3 down the concrete sidewalk on the south side of my lot.
That's right, sorry. So that's not an issue. Is the occupancy requirement, is that kind of relating to short-term rental issues?
No, it's more, I think, and it's not a perfect, it would be difficult to enforce moving forward, especially many years from now. We realize that, but I think it was meant to try to alleviate concerns with people just circumventing the single-family residential zoning by putting duplexes in or rentals. Not to say that this couldn't be used as, one of the units couldn't be used as a rental, but I think that that condition was their best attempt to try to keep it owner occupied as much as possible.
Okay, and I would also note for those listening in remotely that the applicant did indicate that the minimum parking requirements that were in the conditions, that she has adequately met those, or would be able to adequately meet those, and that would not be an issue. That didn't get picked up on the microphone, so I found that sometimes helps that. Further comments or discussion from the commission before we vote on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, please signify with the thumbs up. And those opposed, same sign.
Members of the commission voting aye, the motion passes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, that takes care of our public hearing portion of our agenda. I would invite our liaison, Councilman Hopkins, if you have anything that you'd like to share with us. I do see that there are some issues that the council has approved that we had recommended, and we appreciate that. If there's anything else,
Well, quite honestly, I don't maybe have anything of significant value to contribute to the meeting tonight, but I would like to thank you guys all for your service. And you've got some new people coming on, and as a member of council, I can tell you that you guys are at the forefront of what makes things happen in Casper with regarding to the way things happen to your neighbors. And I appreciate all of your thoughts and your organizational skills to send something to council that can make it happen. So with that, and especially you, Commissioner King, you've done a great job as a chairman, and I do appreciate it.
well, thank you. Appreciate your help inside also. Okay, and our community development director had to leave. I noticed in our package, we had minutes, November 9 minutes from our Historic Preservation Commission. Did you have anything you'd like to add on that, Commissioner Wingeters? If you're our
Well,
representative on that.
they've been Skyping a lot of their meetings, or Zooming, or whatever you want to call it, but the last meeting they had just a few days ago, I got in on a phone line, and what I got out of the meeting, and by the way, these guys are very energetic. They're they want to see old-time Casper maintained if possible, the buildings and whatever. They've been trying to get an app together and working through the historic, or whatever you call it, at Casper College. But with the virus going on in Christmas vacation, they've had a hard time getting that together, but they're working on it. And then they've been looking around for ghost signs, if you know any signs, on side of a building and all that, they're looking. And there is one open seat, and they did make up their mind on the open seat. Can I tell the name, or is it, or should I not?
Yes, both the applicants have been made aware of the results, so you can,
Okay, so I better not say the name then.
if you want.
Okay, well, with the open seat, they did decide on Eric Franklin. I'm sure everybody knows Eric from the college. So he applied for it, and they did decide that they would like to have Eric. So they're a good bunch of people, I want you to know that.
Yeah, I did notice, and I think it was in Oil City News, that they discovered a new ghost sign in the Nolan building there, the old Chevrolet logo and stuff there that they didn't know were there. So that just showed up in the last week or two, so.
It's too bad the group wasn't around when they tore down the sandbar. Urban renewal. We'd have every building in the sandbar up yet.
Okay.
Plus, we wouldn't have City Hall right where it is right now.
All right, and Commissioner Fifth, I also noticed we had some November 23rd minutes from the OYD meeting. Is there anything you'd like to expand on that or add to what was in our minutes?
I'd just like to add a couple of comments regarding the artwork for the OYD. One of the things I want to do is actually make it kind of almost interactive, so people can go up and actually touch the artwork and interact with it. Which I thought was an interesting concept that they're going to try to work out. They don't have any details on that yet, but that's one of their goals. And they're looking at a variety of different art features. They're working with Disability Council, so they can get some input in there too, so that they'll be accessible to people with disabilities.
Oh, good. Yeah, it sounds like it's an energetic, vibrant group, so I hope we can continue to have a presence on that from planning and zoning. Are there any communications from commissioners or staff?
Mr. Chairman, I was just going to mention, we're ironing out the details, but there will be a Planning 101 kind of new commissioner training refresher for everybody else coming up in January before our January meeting. So if anybody has any questions leading up to that, feel free to call us, and we're happy to answer questions and put you more at ease. And otherwise, we'll see everybody at the January meeting when we iron out the details, date and time and all that.
I would throw this out. I believe one of the first training sessions that I attended, Mr. Tremuth presented the Carpentersville hearing on, and that was a classic, and I still pull it up once in a while, so maybe
We should resurrect that.
pull that up as to how not to run a meeting. Anyway. All right, are there any comments from the public? I do see Mr. McIntosh here, and welcome for your expected involvement, and also if the other two are listening in, I'm sure the commission will welcome your additions. Any other comments or questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Frank?
My husband told me to have fun at the meeting tonight, so I brought cupcakes for after the meeting. So everybody, and there's 2 of each different kinds, so just enjoy and have a cupcake, okay?
Okay, we appreciate that.
Who can resist cupcakes?
That's right. I would make a note, our next regular meeting for planning and zoning is Thursday, January 21st, 2021, here in council chambers at 6 p.m. And with that, is there any other issues you'd like to discuss, Commissioner Frank, or bring forth?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Commissioner
I
Frank.
would move to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Feth. Indicate approval to adjourn, thumbs up. Record the
All
vote.
members of the commission voting aye, the motion passes.
We are adjourned, thank you.
Thank you for bringing